Hi, this is Doug Schneider. Welcome back to Real Hi-Fi. This series I've always wanted to be about useful information, practical advice. So today I'm going to talk about diminishing returns a little bit, but more important about how price and performance don't necessarily correlate. Now, these topics are not new to me. I've talked about diminishing returns and price and performance many times in articles over the years, in person and in videos. But it came up recently because somebody posted something on Facebook from John Darko's website, something I basically agree with, where he put to the effect of, if you spend 3 times as much on your stereo, don't expect 3 times the performance. And that's kind of true, but there were all these people who totally disagreed with that and were saying there's no such thing as diminishing returns. And that's what that points to, which is blatantly foolish because diminishing returns happens in about everything. But the problem with talking about diminishing returns is what is 3 times or 4 times or whatever better. You'll always find somebody who will find a tiny difference and say, oh, it's an order of magnitude better, or I can't even quantify it. And that gets messy. But the real thing is diminishing returns, or the lack of them, miss a bigger topic. And that is that there is no correlation really in audio beyond what I'll define that guarantees that when you pay more, you get anything more, whether it's 3 times, 10 times, or just a little bit. In fact, it might be worse. What I'm basing these comments on is my own experience. I've been running SoundStage for almost 30 years, and I've been an audiophile for almost 50 years. And I've been to more hi-fi companies around the world than any audio writer ever has. And when I've done that, I've been in more design labs and seen more manufacturing areas than any audio writer ever has. I've also had hundreds of components come into this place, and we've measured them. I've listened to them. Others have listened to them. And it all comes out the same. There's no guarantee that a higher priced component outperforms a lower priced one. And why isn't a high priced product automatically better? Well, there could be a variety of reasons, but one reason is maybe the price has just been thrown on there to basically trick you, like happens in many other industries. Think luxury fashion. A high price is thrown on something to give you the impression that it's better. It's priced higher, it must be better. They don't necessarily correlate. But let's not look at it cynically and say somebody's trying to trick you with a high price. Let's just say there are 2 products, priced the same or one's priced less, but this one performs better. Why does it perform better? Well, there are certain mythologies in the audiophile world that don't hold true about materials, for example, that superior products have certain materials, or they're of a certain size or a certain configuration or whatever. And these 2 are topics for future videos. What the main thing I've found is it's the skill of the designer or the design team. It's just not all equal. There are not many great loudspeaker designers out there. There are not many great amplifier designers out there, and so on. There are many designers out there, but some elevate beyond the others, and it usually comes from a tremendous amount of skill, education often, and experience. And I could point to myriad examples, but that's not the point. Some are simply better than others, and that translates into their products. And here's another thing. I found some of those best designers, they're not really attached to the price. They design something, and then the marketing team puts a price on it, or somebody decides this should be this much. They're simply designing the best product they can. And like I said, all aren't created equal, and there are not that many out there. So what that means is not all the companies have them. Now, there are other reasons too, but to me, that's the overriding factor, though it's not guaranteed that if you have a great designer, they'll put out a great product. They might be constrained by other things. But I'm talking broadly here that there are a limited number of great designers or design teams, and that limited number is fewer than the number of companies out there. So you get this wide disparity in products. That said, I don't want to give you the impression that the best audio products don't cost a lot. The designer or the design team is one thing. It does cost a lot to make a great product. When I talk about making it, I'm talking about the materials that went into it, the company behind it, how it operates, the wages it has to pay, the backing of the product. All these things do cost a lot. And in many audio forums, people are out there with racing to the bottom in terms of the cheapest possible component they can find, and that being the best. That rarely happens. The best hi-fi products do cost a lot to design and make and support and sell properly. They just don't have to cost an arm and a leg. But I also want to clear up this about price. Don't think you're going to get the best of anything for a few $100s, despite what some zealot in some budget audio forum says, oh, it doesn't get any better than this for $149 or $349. Equally nonsensical are the audiophiles or reviewers who tell you have to spend a few $100,000. They're out of their minds. They're clueless. Audio isn't that black and white. It's gray, and the best components are somewhere in the gray in the middle. So to wrap this up, forget about talking about diminishing returns. It's not really relevant. What is relevant is to know that price and performance don't necessarily correlate. Yes, it's going to cost you quite a bit to get the best hi-fi components, but maybe not as much as many people will say. And the key is to use common sense and your ears. Don't just assume that it has a high price, meaning it's the highest performance. That's not true. I hope this helped. Thank you for watching.